To me, those duals seem way more right than socionics duals, and it's naturally occurring from the mechanisms of taxonomy. So you have to look at the paper, read it. It's not even done. I just started yesterday, really. I've been talking about it a lot longer than I'm writing it down. Read that. Get that into your, if you want to see this work best for you, understand the MP distinction and the directionality thing, and then let that inform everything else, and you'll realize where the problems with these other models are, where it's inconsistent with it, and you'll understand where you have to cut shit out because it doesn't work. Because if you don't like it, if you have a great critique of it, if you read that and you go like, no, this is wrong because here's a preferable alternative that's preferable because it's more logically consistent. Do not, however, come tell me that my mechanism description is wrong because it's in conflict with somebody else's mechanism description. You have to actually say why some other preferable alternative mechanism makes more sense. I'm helping you understand what's wrong with your discourse.
Is inherently more correct without backing that up.
I'm not. You want to find points of conflict here, but what I'm telling you is you shouldn't believe me right now until you read that thing, and even they shouldn't believe it, but you should engage with the ideas if you want to in the following way. You either come up with a preferable alternative mechanistically to explain cognitive functions and explain why that preferable alternative is preferable, or you buy my model / taxonomy because you accept that it is preferable because you can't come up with any preferable alternatives to it. Get it?
Even if you're not talking about Eric's theory, your critique of tri-type was simply that it was not the original theory, which is implying an inherent increased value in the original theory, but there was no actual demonstration of that.
And when you say right here, Eric is not telling his fully specified enneagram theory himself, I've already answered that and you've ignored my answer. Because my answer to that was my incorporation of enneagram is limited and because I require it to be logically consistent with the predominant mechanism, namely cognitive functions as described in that link. And so that's why I don't have an opinion about disintegration and integration, because I don't include that part. I'm only discussing enneagram insofar as the very precise limits of it that I described indicate. Now, you've chosen to ignore the fact that I've said that. Why is that? It's implying it does. I'm implying it doesn't go with the main true fear, which I've observed to be true and accurate. What doesn't go with?
I was talking about tri-type, but that's actually a statement of something. That was like the most concrete statement you made so far.
Right.
Based on your observations. Like that's actually a statement. See, that's saying,
you're saying
based on my observations, I find this more consistent. But you haven't been saying that. You've been saying, well, this theory doesn't go with that theory, and therefore, yeah, X.
But even so, what you are doing is you're saying, okay, here's an actual claim with an actual warrant. Good. However, I will point out it's a bad claim because it's poorly explained what you mean, and it's a poor warrant, which is to say you're basing it on data that is not, you have no, there's no randomness in the data pool at all. It's the randomness of whatever your data is, which is the opposite of random. It's what you get. What you get is not random. What you get is what you get. That's not random. I'm 783. ENTP 783. Yes, I know that. Those things are both true. I mean, if that's what you want to call it, it seems, again, to be suggesting that he's unaware of his own anger, that he ought not repress it, or that somehow it's a less than wholly valid identity to manifest if you're an 8? Okay, well,
Hold on. You
if
hear
that's
me?
the case, then what's the point of metacognition?
Right. What was that about 8s again? We've heard 8s, and I am supposedly an 8.
Okay, well, right now. Is the person talking the same person who was typing?
No.
No. Okay, so I'm dealing with Blanky here. Blanky, this is why you need to have a name, right? I don't like calling you Blanky.
That's definitely
So-
not me. I can put
Well, that's
myself
Mark.
on camera.
Other Mark. That's not that. You're not host Mark. You're Mark. Okay, so you're M Mark. Yeah, you're M Mark. I see your name. I don't see your name on the square, but read it and I acknowledge that you have. Oh, there's your name. I got you. Okay, M Mark. Fine. Thank you for giving me a name. I appreciate that. Your point is that the thing that is driving your personality is the fear that you're most concerned about, which is something that you're consciously avoiding in some regard. Is that what you're saying? I mean, I've understood you the whole time, but a lot of times I've disagreed with what you said. Okay, yeah. Okay, I accept that. I don't disagree with that. I accept that my main motivation is avoiding existential terror by playing. Yeah, I'm in total agreement with that. Yeah, I'm in total agreement with that too. That his main motivation is his main negative fear motivation is anger. The limits and potentialities thereof.
Right, but are you? So you would say, so we're not disagreeing on the core fear, Blanky, or Mark or whatever. But are you saying that there isn't finer sorting to be done among 8s? So like an 8-7-3 is going to be different than an 8-6-4.
Okay, but I think you're conflating
Or
anger and annoyance. No, I get his
There's not a
point. No, I get it.
differentiation.
Hold
Yeah.
on, Audra, because I get your point, but let's finish the chain we're on because he's going
Okay,
down
sorry.
further. He's actually making good arguments here, which is fine. I can see that would be a logical mechanistic argument to make, that if in fact anger and annoyance were the same thing, that would show that he was an 8. But my point is, if you want to see the emotion that correlates with a 5 being interrupted in their thinking about shit, it's annoyance. It's it's understanding that he's not driven fundamentally by the anger, but by the inconsistency, but by the lack of penability metaphysically, the physical impermanence of the world. Annoyance is a natural response to that. Just like for me, annoyance when I'm interrupted in my play is a natural response. It doesn't mean I'm being driven by anger. Now, if he's being driven by a 5, then he's trying to figure it all out, and he's annoyed because it would appear to him that I'm getting in the way of his figuring out by being intentionally and unnecessarily difficult and non-responsive. In reality, I'm the one who's holding everybody to the high standard and being very responsive, very specific, very particular, and he's gradually coming to terms with that and coming to appreciate it and being less annoyed and more appreciative of the fact that I'm not bullshitting. I actually have very concrete points that he can attack if he wants to. I'll send him that goddamn paper and attack the shit out of it. I want it to be attacked because I want it to withstand scrutiny. Okay, well, right now I'm annoyed, right? I'm annoyed by your refusal to address my point that annoyance and anger are different. For example, if I'm not able to be helpful and I'm a 2, I might be in a state of anxiety. That doesn't turn me into a 5, 6, 7, or a 5, 6, or 7. It means I'm a 2 experiencing anxiety. That's the difference between fear and anxiety. The existential terror that motivates me at the core is something that I experience periodically. occasionally, usually in SI moments after waking up from a dream about my parents from a long time ago or something. And I wake to genuine existential terror. That is the underlying motivation that drives me. That doesn't mean I don't feel mild anxiety if I'm not achieving. It doesn't mean I don't feel anxiety if I can't get in on a fight even, or I feel like annoyance, like, oh, those people are fighting over there. I want to fight that fight too. I'll be annoyed. It doesn't mean I'm driven by anger. But I'm not, it's not all I'm fixated on. I didn't say that it's exclusively my motivation. I said it's an underlying motivation. My primary underlying motivation. Now, am I also motivated by shame? Yeah. I like to achieve, I like to look good in front of other people. That's one way in which I perhaps provide a buffer between me and the existential terror. Am I also motivated by anger? Yeah. I believe the response to anger is to win the thing you're angry about rather than fix the thing you're angry about or compromise your way out of the thing. So, yeah, all those things are part of my motivations. But is the predominant one, is the one that trumps them? The question always is this. Frame things like this, it'll help you do more effective analysis in general, is when in conflict, which do we prefer? Is a good debate thing. So it's like, my opponents have attempted to frame them out like this, but they have failed to distinguish between rights and they fail to distinguish the real question that we have to address today regarding rights and money. When they are in conflict, which do we prefer? We cannot have both. Exclusivity is a fundamental reality that we must all incorporate into our models, like that. When in conflict, which do we prefer? It helps us to refine the question in meaningful ways that allows us to escape some of the apparent contradictions that aren't even there. But what I'm saying is, it's better to think of it like I just said. I'm on point. I'm telling you, here's the better way to think about it. You're trying to say, okay, how do we figure out, well, which one's stronger, which one's weaker, which has more potential, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work like that. We do both if we can. If they're in conflict, one we prefer. So what I'm saying is, if a choice meets my needs well in achievement, but poorly in terms of dealing with existential terror, then I will not make that choice. That they're in conflict, then I'm going to prefer the choice that's consistent with my defense against existential terror. That's why I play way more than I achieve, because I'm limited in the extent to which I can find ways to achieve and play concurrently. That doesn't mean I can't do it. I try my goddamn best. That's what we're doing right now. You are currently, with your wrongness, helping me play and achieve concurrently. But when they are in conflict, then I tend to play, not achieve. Mark, don't you get disingenuous with me, young man. You went back to that is the foundation of an Enneagram theory thing. You know better than that. We are talking about things that are logically consistent in and of and within themselves and need to be evaluated within that metric.
Is my accent improving because you haven't recognized my voice? Just asking.
I mean, I don't know, dude. You could be my mom. I wouldn't recognize your voice. I don't fucking know who you are. Some foreign dude.
Fuck. All right, it's not improving. At least I've tried.
I don't know who you are. I probably don't even remember. Are you Steve?
No, let's play a game. Who am I?
I don't care.
All right.
Okay, but what I just described to you was a preferable model. And I explained why it's a preferable model. And when I say model, I'm talking about basically a block within a taxonomy. Now, the reason it's preferable, the one I'm saying, is because when we understand them as moving together when they can, in other words, when concurrence is permissible, we want to achieve, play, and be mad at the same time. But when they are in conflict, which do you prefer?